What is going on, guys? Today we are reviewing Spider-Gwen issue 2, and if you've noticed, there has been hardly any videos from me recently, all because of my university work, but that's nearly finished now, so hopefully we can get back to my usual upload schedule, and of course catch up on the comics I've missed. So anyway, we are reviewing Spider-Gwen issue 2 today, and in the previous issue, which was Spider-Gwen issue 1, the issue came to a close with Spider-Gwen going down into the sewers to discover multiple lizard men, and then Captain America appeared and told her that she was under arrest. So what's going to happen? Well, who knows? Let's jump into it and find out. The issue begins with us joining Captain George Stacy, and as you can probably see, we are joining him in Uncle Ben and Aunt May's house. So Captain Stacy's thinking about the promises that he's made in his life, and he's actually made a pretty big one towards Aunt May and Uncle Ben by promising that he's going to find the killer of Peter Parker. Obviously that's become very difficult recently, especially because Spider-Woman was said to be the killer of Peter Parker, and now Captain Stacy's discovered that his own daughter is Spider-Woman. So obviously she's not the killer, but he has no way to prove it, so obviously there is another person out there, or at least that's what they think, when in reality it was Peter Parker that kind of killed himself because he turned himself into the lizard, or something along those lines. Now as we move on throughout the issue, we go back over to Spider-Gwen and Captain America, and I just love how they kind of made Captain America laugh. For me personally, it's said that Captain America is a human being, and that her sense of humour is almost on par with Gwen's. Something else that I noticed is that when we flip on over the page, we have Gwen kind of giving like a little bit of a reference to the origin of Captain America by saying, "Listen Captain, puns are a thing now, television is in colour," etc. And I thought that was just awesome to see that in the comic, giving like a little bit of a nod to Steve Rogers' Captain America as well. And with that being said, we also get a little bit of an origin story from this Captain America as well, of this universe, and I honestly have to say that it is a little bit confusing to me. Something else that we also get to see is Steve Rogers being told that Erskine and Bucky have died. And judging by how Steve Rogers looks, I'm assuming that he isn't Captain America here. I mean, he does look a little bit stick thin. But either way, that's an awesome reference to the original characters of Bucky Barnes, etc. But I still don't know her origin exactly. Like, is she traveling dimensions, fighting Nazi Hydra or something like that? I'm not too sure. But she was talking to a red dinosaur, so yeah, maybe you guys can help me out with that in the comments below. Now whilst you guys are doing that, we go back on over to Captain America and Gwen, and of course Gwen just got knocked out and now she's tied up, and I just punched my microphone. Moving on, we can see that Dr. Connors is there and he's not in his lizard form anymore, and neither are the other lizards. Something else that's very intriguing to me is that we hear the name Silk. Now obviously in the 616 universe, Silk is the character Cindy Moon, but in this case it really sounds like Silk is a company in this universe, and Spider-Gwen actually mentions the name Peter Parker, which kind of sends Dr. Connors over the edge and turning back into the lizard again, so yeah, that was pretty weird. Maybe Kirk Connors knows something about Peter Parker, or maybe he wants to know something about Peter Parker, and that's what set him off again. We also get introduced to this universe's Falcon, and he also has a star on his shoulder, which kind of makes me think, wait, is he a relative to Captain America? Especially because they're both the same skin colour as well, so hopefully we'll find something out in the future of these comics. But until then, we might as well just keep reading this issue and follow the wolf down into the sewers as we go back to Spider-Gwen, Captain America, and Dr. Kirk Connors the Lizard. One thing I noticed from my review of Spider-Gwen issue 1 is that quite a few of you guys didn't really like the artwork of the comic, but in my opinion this part right here is where the art shines for me, just the fight scenes and the lizard diving for Spider-Gwen and all that crazy stuff. Gwen actually caught a glimpse of a flashback of when she saw Peter Parker as the lizard and when he was actually dying, and of course that put her on edge a bit, it kind of scared her a little bit and she fell back in fear against the lizard, but luckily Agent DeWolf was there to save her just in time, or technically just interrupt them both. And what we can't forget is that Gwen is still tied up at this point in those vibranium handcuffs. So when the lizard does dive for DeWolf, Gwen literally cannot do anything, but luckily Falcon has her back and manages to take out the lizard before he gets to DeWolf. Now something that we get in the comic that I actually didn't think would happen is Spider-Gwen and Captain America team up against the lizard to take him down, and I just love how Spider-Gwen is so hell-bent on staying to finish the job whilst Captain America is trying to get out of there, and usually it's the other way around. Usually it's Captain America that's staying there to finish the job, to finish what he started, and everyone else is trying to leave. So it was a nice twist on the roles there to show just how great Gwen is at being Spider-Woman and how dedicated she is to everyone's safety and just to the role of Spider-Woman as well. Something tells me that these two characters will be teaming up again in the future, and a friendship has actually been created between these two characters. Someone else that is also making the way into the comic a little bit more is Captain DeWolf. Is it Captain DeWolf or is it Agent DeWolf? I can't remember now, but either way, she's just as curious about this whole thing as everybody else is. And what you guys don't realize is that they did not know that Peter Parker turned himself into the Lizard. And that's what they mean when they say that Dr. Kirk Connors is a copycat, because the Lizard that destroyed the school was Peter Parker, but nobody knows that. We also discovered that Silk is a shadow company that is experimenting on humans to turn them into weapons such as lizards, etc. And of course, this Silk shadow company is going to play a major role in the future of the comics. But right now, we're turning the page back on over to Captain Stacy and Uncle Ben, and picking up from the conversation where we left off at the beginning of the issue, and we see Captain Stacy speaking to Uncle Ben, telling him that it wasn't Spider-Gwen who killed Peter Parker. And at the end of the day, Uncle Ben thinks that Aunt May deserves to know who killed Peter Parker, and Captain Stacy's going to have to figure it out eventually. Now that is where the issue comes to a close, guys, so what are your thoughts on it? What are your predictions as to what's going to happen in the future? And what do you think is going to happen when everyone finds out that Peter Parker was the true Lizard the entire time? Let me know in the comments below. I've already given my thoughts on the issue at hand, and obviously the art style I thought was pretty good, in the fight scenes at least anyway. I'm not sure about the parts with the dialogue, you know, like where everyone's just stood there talking. It's kind of a little bit boring, but I love the colours in the comic, and it's definitely different to any other series out there. I'm going to give this issue an 8 out of 10, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go to the links in the descriptions, follow me on Twitter and Facebook for all of the latest in comic book news and updates, and of course to stay up to date on when videos are going out. For any of you guys that were asking where the videos were, if you follow me on Facebook or Twitter, you would have known, so yeah. But anyway guys, it's time to end the video, so if you want more, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on this video, and I will see you all next time.